So we're live now. So welcome back, everybody. You just listened to the amazing Wob. I'm joined by Jolly right here, right now. Jolly, that was an absolutely amazing set. How does it feel to be back performing?
Thank you very much. It feels great. Great doing a real proper gig, and doing an interview after is cherry on top.
Well, that's great to hear, man. And it's great to be in this studio as well, isn't it? Newly built
the studio is lovely.
Have to give it up to the lads for making it sound so amazing. And I'm just glad that you got to see this and you got to experience this as one of the first musicians to get to play here. Like I said to you earlier, you broke in the studio a little bit.
Sweet, so I feel privileged.
Yeah, man. No, I feel privileged, man. Thanks so much for doing it. So many questions, so many things I could ask you. Of course, we chatted back in May when I met you.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I know we were kind of chatting about something else earlier on, but I kind of wanted to touch on, obviously, the album that sort of turned me to you.
Yeah.
This actually goes back to the beginning of knowing you. And it was a post on Facebook, I think it might have been a Hot Press post, for your album Nostos, which when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, where has this guy been all my life? Because I think you've been in Ireland in the Irish music scene since 2006, 2007?
8. Yeah, I moved over here 2007, and I was working as a session drummer because obviously I didn't want to start anything like my own in music terms. But yeah, I was around. I met lots of people. I heard your name, but we never got the chance. I know that you were running this open mic in Chennai or something like that, but I don't play on that scene, so I just heard about you. But yeah, sooner or later, it's a small country, it's a small town.
We were bound to run into each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you heard my name. So that's great.
Yeah, you're very famous, Dave. You're famous.
Yeah, I'm famous now. Wob knows me, guys. No, it's fantastic, and it's interesting. Yeah, so you came into the music scene initially as a drummer, and we've seen you play drums, of course, as well at the Transmission Festival.
Yeah.
And we know you started out as a drummer. Where was that transition from drums to what you're doing now?
2017 was kind of a transition year where I was getting more into production. So more time spent in studio, more time trying to figure out synths, and less time on drums. I've been playing drums for over 20 years. So this is like a new challenge. So I feel like I'm doing something from scratch. So in the past 3 years, I had a band in the synths. Obviously, I was playing mostly drums. This is the first year when I'm not playing drums.
Whole year without drums.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I do some of the songs. You know, my live set. This is something similar that we did a Transmission gig in August. I would play drums for some of the songs. But you know, no rules is the best rule. Whatever I feel like, I play lots of instruments. You know, I just want to put a good show for, you know, like a visually and sonically appealing for people, just to have a good time while they're watching my set, I suppose.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to be that free and sort of that open to change as well. You're not too pushed by boundaries. And of course, in this kind of world where you have, obviously this year we had a lot of boundaries, that you're still able to do stuff. You're able to do live stream gigs, stuff from home as well, because you did your album launch as well from home.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about how that was actually your debut album. Tell us a little bit about how sort of you came about it, and a little story about how Nostos came about.
Well, Nostos is like a 10-song album that I released back in May. It's fully recorded, produced, basically mixed, mastered, and everything by myself. I put myself like a challenge to complete an album on my own in technical terms. I did have lots of help from lots of people and performers, obviously, but I kind of wanted to finish one project on my own, regardless of quality. It maybe would sounded better if I went to expensive studio or something like that. But you know, it's not about that. It was more like a personal mission, which kind of aligns with the story on the album as well, which is a personal kind of personal journey, going back to home, back to roots, figuring out what's actually important, and not allowing like external distractions to stray away from your original path to where you're going as a soul.
Interesting. Yeah. Did you have any delays with the release or anything like that, or did you release exactly how you wanted it? Because I know with the pandemic.
Well, it's kind of, it was a bit of improvisation. Originally, I was planning to release just an EP. It was 5 songs, I believe. And then the lockdown kicked in, so I figured out all the gigs and all the tour I was planning to do during the year that went through the window. So I was like, okay, I can use a bit more time to kind of polish this up and complete the story, because I felt there was like a couple of gaps that could be filled with new songs, just to complete the circle in a way that I did analogy with Greek mythology, and I wanted like to put in a few more songs to complete that circle.
Brilliant.
And I just used the time in lockdown to do that. There was no pressure. Obviously, a few deadlines broken, but it's my deadlines, so you know.
Of course, yeah, you can break your own deadlines.
Exactly.
I'm sure. So it's Homer's Odyssey, right? Is
Yes.
sort of what it's quite based on, which is fascinating. How many songs did you go in with initially, and then how many songs you ended up with? 10 songs. So how many
Originally, it was supposed to be 5 songs EP.
You doubled your.
Yeah, and then it gradually became a 10-song full album, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah, you should be. And by the way, you were saying, it might sound better with a different producer. It could have sounded worse with a better producer. So I think it's perfect the way you did it.
It's just a representation in time of whatever I was capable of producing then. You know, it is like personally, it's a bit kind of darker vibe, but you know, why not? It was just a reflection of how I felt at the time sonically. And I'm making like totally different music now, because since last gig we did, I was actually working on a new EP for next year.
Brilliant.
Obviously I can't do gigs, so I just use time to just take a good break, recalibrate, and then create some new art for next year.
Yeah, brilliant, because you obviously had your issue with your Mac that we spoke about. You did your OS hard reset, and then obviously everything changed. You had to do some house cleaning.
Upgrade,
so which is great now. Your computer's nice, spick and span. You got your upgrades now.
Yeah,
so you're ready
upgrade
to
is there. It's faster. I gave it an extra 10 years of life, and I changed. We were talking about this earlier. I changed the main synth that I'm using for playing. So I had to recreate all the sounds that I was using on the other synth I was using, and which kind of helped me as a producer to tweak the synths a bit more, understand how to recreate the sound from scratch that I actually recorded. I don't have that patch anymore.
Fair play.
So it was a geeky couple of months, you know.
How did your wife feel about that? You locked in your studio.
Great, she felt great, as usual.
Got a bit of a break from you, did she? That's amazing, dude. What? So you had that over the lockdown. You had a bit of distraction, and was there any kind of new skills or anything else that you've kind of added to your sort of set over the lockdown?
Over the lockdown, the new skills. I'm improving as a producer all the time. I'm always, and I at least 1 hour per day. I'm messing with sounds, doing sound design, mixing, and I don't know.
So the vision mixing stuff as well is great, because we saw that when you were doing the vision mixing. And tell us a little bit about that, because that's very interesting. I don't see many artists doing that. Yeah,
visual part is like I decided this year, before we heard of the lockdown, to try to do a one-man show, because for years I was just playing drums hidden in the corner. I was doing lots of production, most of the production for some songs, but I wanted to feel how does it feel when you're in front of stage, you know? Not for any egoistical reasons or anything like that, you know, like I've been playing drums for 20 years, I know how it looks like, you know, small stages and big stages. I just want to try something different.
You've seen it all,
And so I decided to like play some of my songs, kind of arrange in real time, play a bit of the synth, and I just want to fill in the gaps, because I felt there's time and space to do more. So I decided visuals are obviously a very big part of electronic music delivery, so to say.
Absolutely.
And I didn't want to just press play and have visuals behind me. I decided to medium up that and manipulate them in real time.
Make them more meaningful and make them match.
And I'm also playing the image as well. Like it responds to music.
It's interesting. I'd love to learn how to do that, because you do that through Ableton, right?
Through Ableton.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. And so you mentioned a few gigs that obviously didn't happen this year. Speaking of that, what kind of gigs stood out for you? Obviously, I've only seen you in like a studio environment, so I'd like to visualize what it's like, you know, being at a festival, watching and listening to you. Is there anything that stood out for you as a gig like that? You know, with loads of people, right? Do people go to gigs, guys? Like, remember that?
I played like big gigs, like I played in Borgash Theatre. Played small gigs like in a teeny tiniest tent in Fantastival ages ago.
Fantastival's
so amazing. This was actually a first WOB gig. This was when 2013. tiniest gig in a tiniest sweaty tent. Those gigs are great as well because you have people on top of your head like sitting on your drums. The energy is there, you know, everybody's vibing at the same time. So festivals, lots of festivals, Electric Picnic, Knock and Stock, and it's a good vibe, you know. People really like to dance to my music, and it's a party kind of vibe. So I never had a bored face during the set, you know. So that kind of is a good thing for me to see that, okay, I'm on a right path with whatever music I'm making, you know. People are having fun, you know.
Exactly, and it doesn't matter the size, like you say, but the variation's always great, right? So you do some big gigs, you're doing some small ones. Either way, you're still getting kind of fed in different ways, right, from the crowd. It doesn't even matter how big they are, right, in that kind of way. So I totally get that, you know. Every experience is different. Some gigs on your own, when you're in a big stage, you're a bit detached from the audience almost, like distance-wise. I know you're still connected in a way, but then you got the ones where they're all over the place, like all over you. That's really interesting.
Both feel great.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And it's always good to do both, you know, not to get stuck in one.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah. No, I love that. I respect that, because some people are just like, no, I'm not going to take those gigs. They're too small, you know. And it's like, it's not about the size, guys. It really isn't. All right. Anyway, not coming from me. But to finish off, actually, is there anything you'd like to? Well, do you have a New Year's resolution, actually?
New Year's resolution, yeah, I definitely want to move around more, you know, because I was
around your house or
not
around
around
Ireland,
my house,
around the world?
Around my house, away from my house.
Away from us. Okay, yeah.
No, we're kind of really restricted. I want to travel. Probably when the restrictions are lifted, I'm just going to get my passport and travel a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
I think a lot of people are going to be
resolution.
like that.
Exercise more and travel more. That's
Yeah. So you're going to have a dry January then, I take, are you?
Well, nah, I'm not extreme in any cases, you know. So I'm moderate. Hedonist.
Oh, really? Yeah. Fantastic. Listen, Jolly, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thanks so much for coming out here for our New Year's celebration. Guys, the amazing Jolly, also known as Wob, do check him out. That was him and his performance there. Next up is the Sunshakers. See you in a bit.